You know that one song you can't get enough of? Chances are it was made with a sample from Splice. Explore top packs made by your favorite producers, sketch out song ideas in seconds with Create Mode, and dive into a sample catalog that's so deep, it's dangerous. Find out why Splice is the industry's not-so-secret secret. Visit splice.com and try for free today. Welcome to the Fader Interview. I'm Alex Robert Ross, Editorial Director of The Fader. Close your eyes and picture a music festival. It's outdoors, hot as hell, somewhere vast and imprecise. A beach on the Algarve, a neon-lit park in downtown Hong Kong, an ungodly temporary oasis in the Nevada desert. There are hundreds of thousands of people. There may as well be millions. And they're all dancing together, staring through their disposable sunglasses at one man in the middle of the sprawling stage, towering over the decks and looming over the crowd on titanic projectors. Chances are, whether you mean to or not, the person you're imagining right now looks a lot like Tiësto. He is ubiquitous, uber famous, a globe-traversing DJ and producer who basically headlined the opening ceremony of the Athens Olympics 2 decades ago, and has somehow only grown bigger since. It didn't start out like that, of course. Tiësto West was once a kid from Breda, a small city in the Netherlands, playing sets at a small local club called the Spock. His early releases made him a big name on the underground, as the melodic and overwhelming trance sound he helped to pioneer took root in Europe. But it was his US debut, the mix album Summer Breeze, that showcased Tiësto at his early peak. The relentless remix of Delirium's Silence playing in clubs and climbing up charts worldwide. That set his debut solo LP, In My Memory, up to be a smash, combining the harder-edged trance he'd played coming up with more recognizable pop. He was already a mega DJ, and from there things just snowballed. Grammy Awards, Olympic ceremonies, an appointment by Queen Beatrix to be an Officer of the Order of Orange Nassau. On 2009's Kaleidoscope, he collaborated with everyone, from Tegan and Sara, to Calvin Harris, to Sigur Ros's Jonsi. And by the time he released his 5th album, A Town Called Paradise, in 2014, he was almost unrecognizable from the kid who played the Spock. He was making pop music, melodic EDM focused directly on the brain's pleasure centers. It may not always have earned him the love of every raver or every music critic, but it definitely put him up in the middle of that vast and imprecise stage as an unquestioned headliner. His 7th album, Drive, is out this Friday, and it's quintessential late-era Tiësto. Unabashed, slick pop music that leans on some intelligently selected collaborators to keep the party moving. He's got a song with Fader cover star Charlie XCX, after the two had admired each other's work from afar for years. Songs with Karol G, Ava Max, and A Boogie with the Hoodie are already massive hits, having been released as singles in advance. There's even a remake of Black Eyed Peas' Pump It, called Pump It Louder, which maybe sums up Tiësto's unimpeachable hit-making instincts better than any podcast introduction could. When I called Tiësto late last week, he was in a hotel suite in Bangkok, preparing to play another massive show, before coming back to Vegas for the weekend. He was polite, even a little bashful, when discussing his career and reflecting on the changes in his audience over the past 3 decades. And he was particularly thoughtful when he remembered his late friend and mentee, Avicii. How are you doing? How are you?
Good. I'm in Bangkok playing a show tonight. It's like 8 o'clock in the evening.
What time do you go on tonight?
In 3 hours. So I just woke up from because I stay on the US time. So I just woke up, took a shower, and I just have a cup of coffee. But it's 8 o'clock in the evening, so it's weird because it's dark outside.
You must be used to this, though. I mean, you're in Thailand. You're going back to Vegas in a couple of days. Like, are you just accustomed to waking up at 8 p.m. and having coffee?
Yeah, definitely get more used to it. But it's weird because in the weekends it is like this, but during the week I'm home and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. to my normal life, you know. So it used to be like this all the time, traveling all the time, but now, you know, I'm a family man, have 2 kids, so I try to really spend time at home as well, of course.
I was going to ask if you want me to call you Tice or call you Tiësto, and I wonder if those two people are the same. Has having kids maybe separated those two people a little bit?
They've always been a little separated, but are also the same, because Tiësto is my whole life. And my daughter just told me when I left, she said, like, I want to hear Tiësto music. She doesn't know what Tiësto is, but she knows the name already. Yeah, and she wants to be a DJ later on, and that's what she said. And yeah, so it's interesting, but yeah, it's actually a bit of both. But when people know me, my family calls me Thijs, but my colleagues call me Tiësto. But yeah, it's weird. It's both. So
let's talk about Drive. Congratulations on the album. You have to tell me about the Monaco Grand Prix. Like, what happened to this diamond?
I don't know what happened to the diamonds. It's a mystery. Huh?
What drew you to this story? Because it's obviously there's glamour and there's decadence to it, which feels a little bit Tiësto-y. What is it that made you want to devote an album to it?
Yeah, well, it's just Drive in general. You know, it's about the journey between the tracks and the drive that people have. It's a little bit of everything, and I always attracted to the racing theme, not necessarily the race itself, but more like the glamour around it, like the Grand Prix of Monaco, the celebrations, the champagne, the yachts, and the cars going through the town, and that, I thought it was this very Tiësto, and the music I make right now, it fits that champagne vibe, and I think that's the main reason why I got inspired by the racing theme. Yeah, also in my merch, I'm trying to incorporate the racing theme, and yeah, I think it's really, really cool. So it's a different concept, you know.
I know it's 10:35 and I can feel your arms around me. Let them drown me. I know it's 10:35 and I'm thinking, God, you found me. That you found me. So don't you worry about tomorrow. Don't you worry, just pass the bottle. I know it's 10:35 and I can feel your arms around me.
Some of the collaborators you have on this album, I want to start with Tate McRae, mostly because Tate was born 2 years after you released your first album. And I know this is nothing new for you. You've collaborated with not only singers, but also DJs who probably grew up listening to your music. What does it feel like working with them? What do you take from the younger generation?
Yeah, I think a lot of the energy, you know, what I love about the younger generation, they have a lot of energy and they have a different view of things. I feel like when you get older, sometimes you get really stuck in your routines and in your way of doing things in the studio and what you like, and I feel like young people have a completely different vision on everything, and they can really throw you off in a good way to go a completely different direction, and sometimes make you aware that don't care about this stuff, just focus on this, you know. It's really inspiring. And that's why I've always liked working with younger people, because they bring me to different directions.
One that really stands out here is Charli XCX. I mean, she's been on the cover of our magazine. She's someone we love a lot. I mean, you guys have been trying to work together for years, right? You've been sending tracks back and forth.
Yeah, no, I've been always a huge fan of Charli, and I mean, she's an amazing songwriter and artist, singer. She can do it all, you know, and she writes a lot of different tracks, and you know, a lot of times I was like, oh, I wish we would have done this one together, but then it's already gone. Like, I mean, the most famous one is of course the Icona Pop one. You know, that track is an incredible track, but she had Fancy, you know, that track was so amazing, and so it was time to work together, and we finally found a track we both liked. So there it is, hot on it. She has so much talent, and she can write those songs so easily. So I would love to do more with her. You know, I could actually do 10 tracks with her because she's so amazing.
Yeah, one thing I find really interesting about Charli is she came out of that scene in the UK with like PC Music. And PC Music were doing things that I think, you know, even 10 years ago were quite maybe indebted to the trance scene that you came out of and that you helped pioneer. But were you aware of that stuff at the time? Did you listen to like PC Music and stuff?
No, I had no idea, actually. I know her mostly from her pop hits, actually. It's like the Icona Pop one and yeah, the Fancy one and those tracks. I don't really know that. I gotta look into that. That's interesting. Yeah, it's funny to see though that in general, a lot of producers also nowadays get inspired by my old trance music. It's really interesting to see. Like even like the new track from Calvin Harris with Ellie Goulding. It sounds like an old trance track I used to play. So it's really funny to see that how everything comes back after so many years, you know.
Dropping it, shake my ass, I'm stopping it. I look hot in it, hot in it. I look hot in it. Rocking it, dropping it, shake my ass, I'm stopping it. I look hot in it, hot in it. I look hot in it. Tonight I'm gonna be rocking it, dropping it, shake my ass, I'm stopping it. I look hot in it, hot in it. I look hot in it. Tonight I'm gonna be rocking it, dropping it, shake my ass, I'm stopping it. I look hot in it, hot in it. I look hot in it.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. I know that you listen to Fred again and guys like that. And I mean, trance, especially in the last couple of years, I feel like since things have opened up again after the pandemic, it feels like trance is back in the mainstream, back in clubs in a more serious way again. Have you noticed that?
Not necessarily in the clubs, because I feel like in the clubs it's still. I play mostly clubs in America, so that it's very house. So yeah, Fred again is massive, you know, and but the real trance I haven't heard it yet. Like the old school 135 BPM, you don't hear it that much. It's on the festivals you hear it definitely more, like on the big festivals like an EDC festival or Greenfields. You know, that's definitely where you can hear more trance. But yeah, in the clubs not yet. But what I love about Fred again is that he takes old elements, but it still sounds like 2023. It's not like you're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a track from the 90s. It's fresh. He takes the best of everything, you know, and that's why he's so brilliant, I think.
Well, I talk to a lot of musicians on this podcast who they would think of the way they write their music as they're trying to reveal something about themselves, and maybe that they make music for themselves. So it's personal first. As a DJ and as a producer, do you think about your audience first, or are you thinking about making music for yourself?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because it's actually a bit of both. So sometimes I feel like this track will go off when I play this on a festival, or you really have the festival in mind, and sometimes you have the radio listener in mind, or yeah, I have to like it myself as well. It's a combination. Some tracks I'm like, yeah, this is for me, and some tracks are like, this is for my festival audience, or this is for the radio. So it's a little bit of both, actually.
Are there specific feelings that you want to get out of an audience, especially with like live music? Is there something that you specifically want to get out of them with like particular moments in a song? I want them to feel this way.
Yeah, it also has very much changed over the years. When I started DJing, I felt like I played very melancholic. You know, it was very emotional music, long tracks, 10-minute tracks, and that would really take you on a long journey. I would play for 4 or 5 hours. And nowadays, I feel the attention span of people became so short that I play every track only 1.5, 2 minutes. And it's more, the goal now is more like to give everybody a good time and give them a bit of everything. So it's, yeah, my sets are very all over the place, you know, and anything can go in there, which I really love, because after so many years of DJing, that keeps it exciting for me, you know. And before, I was only playing trance music, so you're only focused in one genre and one certain kind of people like that music. And now I can play anything. I can even play drum and bass in my sets, and people love it. They love the house, the drum and bass, the trance, the EDM, the techno. And I love mixing it all together. It's like going to an amazing restaurant and you get a little bite from everything the chef can make you. So it's really cool.
Yeah, you came up playing clubs in the Netherlands and in Belgium and then, you know, throughout Europe, and then it just exploded. And I mean, by 2004, you were playing the opening ceremony of the Olympics. I mean, you're one of the biggest musicians in the world. The difference between playing a show in a club, regardless of the kind of music you're playing, and playing a show where you can't even see the audience's faces because there are so many and it goes so far back. Is the feeling different? Is there anything similar about those two things? Do you have the same feeling when you're doing it?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a different feeling. I mean, in the club, it's more intimate. It's like playing in a living room. It's definitely more personal. But playing in a stadium can give you a very euphoric kind of feeling, like that you've never experienced before. To be in control of what 60,000 people can hear is an incredible feeling. And it's really, yeah, it's hard to describe, but it's like goosebumps from bottom to top. It's really special. You feel almost godlike. It's just incredible when you play a track and the drop hits and you hear the whole stadium go, that's something really special.
How do you come down from that? Like when you walk off stage afterwards, how do you get your heart rate down? What do you do?
Yeah, it's like for me, I think it feels the same as a football team that just won a big match. You get off stage, you high five your friends, your team around you, and you just celebrate just an amazing performance. That you did well. It's I scored 2 goals. Let's go. That's the feeling I have when I have a great set. I feel like, I won something. It's really the best feeling in the world.
The trance scene that you came out of in your early days, there was a community around that. One that you helped to foster as well. You had your own label. You were working with other artists, and as you get bigger and bigger, is it harder to maintain a community around your music, or does the community around your music just get bigger?
Well, the community is just, you talk to other artists and stuff, but you don't have much feedback from them because they're always being polite. They will never say something is bad, maybe behind your back, but not. So you only get like feedback from the messaging boards. And basically, that's really honest, and nowadays on social media, when you release something and you can read on your comments or something if things are good or bad, and sometimes it's fair and sometimes it's not. And when it's a fair comment, I think about it, and if it's somebody just being a hater, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, It's like that. And back in the days, we didn't have that. We didn't have that feedback. It was just like you release a track and then people would like it or not, and you always see the reaction on the dance floor, and that's the real feedback I've always going for. Because I remember when I released Kaleidoscope, and that album was very different than my trance albums before. It was I did a lot of indie collabs with a lot of amazing bands, and on the internet, like when I released the album, I got a lot of hate for it. Like all the comments were like, "Man, what have you done? You left trance music," and there was a lot of hate, and it made me a little bit depressed actually, because I thought I do something completely different and it's fresh and so excited, and it was really the opposite what I got from the people. And then I went on tour, because that's how you do it. You release an album, then you go on tour, and I did a college tour in the US, did 30 shows in 1 month, and every night, every track from the Kaleidoscope album, people went crazy. So I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong here? Like online, people are all hating it, but I see the crowd going off on the track. So, and that's what kept me going, actually. That gave me back my my stamina or my energy, because I was really down after reading all those bad comments. And then I played it live and people loved it.
So now you're able to separate those two things. Now, when you see feedback on the internet, you can just be like, yeah, but it's just a guy on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have developed a big elephant skin, as they call that, the comments don't hit me anymore. It's just like, I know what it is. And if I also know when I play a good set or a less good set, or when the track is, I never know it with music when I release it, if it's going to be good enough for the people. I always think like, this is great, and then I put it out, and then some things blow up and other things don't do as well. So it's, yeah. You
said in interviews before, related to that one of the reasons that you keep going is because you want to surprise yourself, challenge yourself. That's the same with your audience. Like, maybe it's good when people have a reaction that's a little bit adverse sometimes, but how do you keep challenging yourself? Like, what do you, because it would be easy this far in at this level of fame to just keep doing the same thing, to produce the same sound over and over again. So how do you continue to challenge yourself?
Well, working with different people helps a lot. Like we talked earlier, the young new producers. I feel like DJing is a lifestyle. You know, it's like your life, pretty much 24/7. When you're online, you're always looking at stuff. You look at other producers. I mean, even a guy like Fred again, I'm sure he inspires a whole new movement, you know. That's what happens. And so, yeah, I get inspired from anything, from like playing a festival, talking to other DJs. And yeah, that keeps me going. And I also hear other sets. I'm like, it starts to sound a little bit flat. And then I'm like, okay, I should change because I don't want to sound like that. I always want to give something extra, so you can expect the usual things in my set, and then besides that, something weird. Like a couple of weeks ago at Ultra, I played at the end of my set, I played two drum and bass tracks, and lately I found a new love for drum and bass. I just love that music, and I found two tracks I really like. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put them in my set, and everybody loved it. So it's also exciting that people are also they see the surprise in my sets. That so it works both ways. They like it more because they see something different, and I like it as well because I do something different. So
you want to challenge your audience as well, even while you're trying to give them what they want. You want them to be happy, like you said, and like these little 1.5 minute increments. You also, there's a sense of trying to challenge them.
Absolutely. I always try to give them something else as well besides. So it's half like, okay, I give you what you want, but I also give you something different to think about, like some weird tracks that I really like, and see how they stick, you know. And I think maybe that's also why people can see me multiple times, because I never really play the same set, except for, of course, the usual Tiësto big hits that everybody wants to hear. Besides that, you can hear a Fred Again track in my set, or a drum and bass track, or a progressive Tale of Us track. You know, it's pretty much anything. So you just never know what you're going to get.
Working with these younger artists, you're obviously seeing kids who grew up making music in a completely different way to you. And now, if you have the talent, you can make a song on your phone, like while you're waiting for the subway. Do you think that accessibility to DJing and producing, is that a good thing?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it harder for people to break through nowadays. I think we all, the older guys, got really lucky. Like back in the days, you know, with there was just less out there. So it was, I wouldn't say it was easier to break through, but once you had your track out, it was definitely easier to put it in front of an audience. And now, yeah, everything is so accessible, and there's so much going on your phone, and it must be hard for new guys to break through. I think there must be like 1 million tracks a day getting released between YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and all the other outlets. You know, it's crazy out there.
What do you think is the best way for somebody to stand out amongst all of that? Like in 2023, if you're a kid who wants to like be Tiësto, like how do you stand out now?
Yeah, I think the best way to stand out is just you have to come up with something that hasn't been done before, and do something you really love, and what's different. And I mean, there's always new DJs breaking through, so it's really still pretty not easy, but it is doable. You know, there's a lot of new talent coming through the last couple of years, and the best example is Fred Again. You know, the way he just made stuff he loved and shows how authentic he is online. And I think that's a great example for how people should be making music, you know. And then he just blew up like that. And he didn't even have like crazy hits. It's just like people know about him because the vibe he's bringing, you know. And because he didn't have a radio top one hit, number one hit or something. So it was just, you know, from word to word. So it's really, I think you should just follow your heart when you make music, and that's the most important thing. Like you can't just make music just because you want to become famous or just you want to become something. you got to make music because you have the passion and the love for music, and that's what really will make you stand out, because then you make exactly what you feel, and if that connects with people, I think you have the best connection, and that's how you can make it.
So next week, it would have been 5 years since Avicii passed. So next Thursday, and I know that you were close and that you admired each other. How do you remember him today?
Yeah, I've had a long history with Tim, with Avicii, and I feel like, especially at the start of his career, we met in 2008, and then he was just doing mashups, and I played a lot of them in my radio shows, and then we met up in Sweden, and we became friends. And he was not even DJing yet; he was just making music. He didn't even know how to. And I invited him to Ibiza to spend the whole summer with me in Ibiza. And that's where he learned how to DJ. And he was playing every night before me. And then we went back to the house, and he was making music always, like on his laptop. And yeah, he was always in a good mood. He was a really, really good guy. And then I think after he became famous in like 2010, 11, we kind of lost track of each other, because as DJs, if you're both that big, he plays one night there, I play one night there. So we never saw each other again. And I've always felt a little bit sad about that. And then back in 2 months before he passed away, we decided to meet up again. Like, man, what happened to us? We were always so close, and let's get more contact going. And we went for a very nice dinner in LA, and he came out to the show where I played. And he was very happy. He had a new girlfriend, and everything was going so well. And then, 2 months later, he passed away. So that was very strange to me, and I never understood what happened there, because 2 months before that night, he seemed very, very happy and well. And so I wish I had more time to talk to him about what was bothering him, because I feel like maybe I could have helped him get out of that, because I get the pressure, a lot of artists are under, because you get so insecure, because a lot of people are bashing you, like on your music or on your DJ sets, on everything, and that can really hurt you. And I don't think people realize that. They think artists are just like untouchable, and they have no feelings, no heart, but it hurts, And I think with Avicii as well, when he played that whole set, that Ultra, where everybody was like, "Oh, he's playing country and it's not dance music," and he felt a lot of pain there, I think, from the crowd. And 2 months later, he had the biggest hit in the world with "Wake Me Up." I think that he didn't really put those two together. Like, it's kind of the similar what I told you earlier with my Kaleidoscope album, that you think you make something great, and then online you get so much hate, and to come back from that is very hard. And maybe that was something that bothered him. But I've had an amazing time with him. Like when I met him mostly, and he's a super talented guy, of course, and his music will always live on. We all still play Levels and Wake Me Up and all the other tracks. It's just like, you're just like, man, I wish I made Levels. It's one of those tracks, a timeless masterpiece.
That was Tiësto in conversation with The Fader. Tiësto's new album, Drive, is out this Friday, April 21, via Musical Freedom and Atlantic Records. The Fader interview is engineered by Tony Giambroni. The executive producer is Alex Robert Ross, and the associate producer is Raphael Helfand. We'd like to thank Lauten Audio for providing our microphones. You can find them online at lautenaudio.com. And we'd like to thank James Ivey for providing our intro music. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate if you left a 5-star rating and review. And do keep an eye on thefader.com for essential music news, interviews, and essays. We'll be back soon with another episode of The Fader Interview. Goodbye until then. You know that one song you can't get enough of? Chances are it was made with a sample from Splice. Explore top packs made by your favorite producers, sketch out song ideas in seconds with Create Mode, and dive into a sample catalog that's so deep, it's dangerous. Find out why Splice is the industry's not-so-secret secret. Visit splice.com and try for free today.